The rain on Station Meridian smelled like recycled piss and broken promises. Crix stood under a flickering neon sign, holding his last treasure like it meant something. The crystalline spinner caught the light from the food stalls, throwing rainbow patterns across the grimy pavement. Pretty. Useless. Exactly like hope. Genuine Draconid craftwork, he called out, voice cracking. 12 years old and he sounded like a rusted airlock. Only 15 credits. A Vrelian couple walked past without looking. A Mytherian merchant laughed at him. Actual laughter. Because watching a dragon hatchling peddle his childhood in the rain? Peak entertainment. Apparently. Crix's stomach growled. 3 days since his last meal. The spinner had been a gift from someone. He couldn't remember anymore. Parents, maybe? Family? Those words meant something to other species. To him, just sounds. 10 credits, he whispered to the rain. Please. Nobody stopped. 6 months ago, Crix had 17 toys. 17. He had counted them every night in the hatching station before the administrators kicked him out. A stuffed Quillen beast with one eye missing. 3 magnetic puzzles. A set of building crystals that hummed when you stacked them right, each one a fragment of a life that was supposed to happen. A life with someone who cared enough to stay. But Draconids didn't abandon their young. Except when they did. Except when Station Meridian's bureaucracy decided your genetic markers showed insufficient bonding potential. Except when the species famous for their family loyalty looked at a hatchling and saw a mistake. The administrators had been so very apologetic, so very concerned. Right up until Crix aged out at 11 and they shoved him into the lower districts with a voucher for 1 week's food and a pamphlet about opportunities for unsponsored youth. He had eaten the pamphlet on day 3. Tasted like lies and cheap recycled pulp. The toys went next. One by one traded for survival. The Quillen beast bought him 2 weeks in a shelter that smelled like chemical cleaners and desperation. The puzzles got him enough credits for protein paste and a thermal blanket. The building crystals, those kept him fed for almost a month. Station Meridian's lower districts operated on a simple principle. If you couldn't prove family sponsorship, you weren't a person, you were a problem, and problems got ignored until they solved themselves or disappeared entirely. Crix learned fast. The good begging corners. Which merchants might toss expired food instead of atomizing it. How to sleep in maintenance shafts where station security never patrolled because honestly, who cared if a few unsponsored kids froze? Draconids were supposed to be valuable. His scales were proper chromatic quality blue-green shifting in the light. His wing buds showed healthy development. In a family, he would have been treasured, educated, sponsored into guild work or civic service. Alone, he was just another mouth nobody wanted to feed. Civilized society, he muttered, watching a Keltorian family stroll past. Their hatchling, probably younger than Crix, wore clothes that cost more than Crix's entire existence. So very evolved, so very enlightened. Everyone gets a chance, they say. Everyone matters, they say. His stomach cramped. Sharp. Vicious. The spinner's edge cut into his palm. 15 credits. That's all he needed. 15 credits bought a week of nutrition cubes. A week meant 7 more days to figure something out. 7 more days to not die in a gutter while the galaxy patted itself on the back for outlawing slavery and discrimination. You still here, Scaleback? Crix looked up. Dren, local enforcer for the district's informal economy. 3 eyes, 4 arms, 0 patience for Draconid hatchlings taking up premium begging space. Just leaving, Crix said. Smart lizard. This corner's mine after sunset. You want to sell trash? Do it in trash territory. Crix's claws flexed. Instinct. Stupid instinct. Like his body forgot that Draconids only had combat prowess when they had training. Family training. Clan techniques passed down through generations. He had YouTube videos he watched on a cracked datapad before it got stolen. I said I'm leaving. Dren smiled. Unpleasant. 15 credits. For the spinner. I'll take it. It's worth 50. It's worth what I say it's worth. 15. Now, the world tilted slightly. Crix blinked. When had the ground gotten so far away? No. Wait, he was standing. Still standing. Probably. 20, he heard himself say. 20 and you've got a deal. Dren's expression shifted. Surprise maybe? Or hunger recognition. That look predators got when they realized their prey couldn't run anymore. 10. Final offer. Take it or I take it anyway. Crix's legs stopped working. Funny thing about starvation. It happens slow, then fast. Days of managing, of pushing through, of telling yourself you're fine, you're handling it, just need one more score. Then your body sends a message, we're done negotiating. The pavement came up to meet him. Cold, wet. The spinner fell from his hand, skittering across the ground with a musical chime that sounded like goodbye. He heard Dren laugh, heard credits exchange hands. Someone else buying his last piece of childhood for scrap value. Then darkness. Sweet. Empty. Honestly. A relief. At least unconsciousness didn't charge rent. Warmth. That was wrong. The lower districts didn't do warmth. Cold. Damp. Occasionally on fire, sure. But warm. Comfortable. That cost credits Crix didn't have. He opened his eyes to a ceiling he didn't recognize. Metal panels, patched with mismatched hull plating. A light fixture that actually worked, all bulbs functional. Impossible. He was dead. Had to be. This was some Draconid afterlife myth his non-existent parents never told him about. Oh good. You're not dead. That would have been paperwork. Crix's head snapped toward the voice. Human. Male. Maybe 40 cycles old, with gray streaking through dark hair and the kind of face that suggested life had punched it repeatedly and gotten bored. He wore a stained work jumpsuit and held a datapad like he was genuinely annoyed about something. Where? Crix's throat felt like sandpaper. How? Station Meridian. Lower Districts. Sector 7. My workshop. You face planted outside my door. The human didn't look up from his datapad. Well, technically 2 blocks away, but I dragged you here. You're surprisingly light for something with wings. Crix tried to sit up. His body screamed objections. You took my spinner.
What?
No. Some four-armed jackass took your spinner. I took you. Seemed like the better rescue priority, but hey, I'm new to this hero thing. The sarcasm was thick enough to cut. Crix's scales bristled. I didn't ask for rescue. Yeah, well, I didn't ask for a half-dead dragon blocking my entrance, but life's full of disappointments. The human finally looked at him. Brown eyes. Tired. Name's Tobias Crane. You've been out for 6 hours. Mild malnutrition, dehydration, and what my medical scanner politely called catastrophic life choices. I'm fine. You're hilarious. Stay there. Tobias disappeared through a doorway. Crix looked around properly. The room was chaos given form. Salvaged tech parts everywhere. Half-assembled machinery. Tools scattered across every surface. A workspace that screamed organized disaster. On one wall a faded photograph. Tobias, younger. A small human child. Both smiling. Tobias returned with a bowl. Steam rose from it. Actual food. Real food. Not paste. Not expired rations. Something that smelled like protein and vegetables and things Crix had forgotten existed. Eat. Slowly. Your stomach's probably forgotten how to process actual nutrition. Crix stared at the bowl. What do you want? Want? For this. Nobody gives free meals. What's the price? Tobias sat in a battered chair, springs protesting. The price is you eat the damn soup before it gets cold, and I wasted good ingredients on an ungrateful lizard. I'm not a lizard. I'm a Draconid. I'm not a charity. I'm a salvage operator. But here we are, both suffering through inaccurate labels. Tobias gestured at the bowl. Eat or don't. Your funeral. Literally. Suspicion warred with hunger. Hunger won. It wasn't even close. The first spoonful hit his tongue and Crix nearly cried. Flavor, texture, heat, things he remembered from before, from when the hatching station still pretended to care. Slow down. You'll make yourself sick. Crix ignored him. 3 more spoonfuls. His stomach cramped, but happily this time, grateful cramping. Why'd you help me? Was having a slow day. Needed a project. I'm not a project. Everything's a project if you're bad enough at life planning. Tobias leaned back. Look kid. You want the truth. I saw you drop. Saw that 4-armed waste of carbon steal your stuff. And I thought, that's someone having a worse day than me. Novelty experience. So you brought me here. Seemed less complicated than explaining a dead Draconid to station security. They ask questions. I hate questions. Crix ate slower now. His body screaming gratitude. The picture. On the wall. Tobias's expression shuddered. Not your business. You made me your business. Fair trade. A long pause. Then, my daughter, Lily. She'd be about 14 now. Would have been, past tense. Shuttle accident. 7 years ago. The words hung there. Blunt. Painful. Honest. I'm sorry, Crix said. And meant it. Yeah. Me too. Tobias stood, moved to a workbench. Started organizing tools that didn't need organizing. Wife left after. Couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle me. I ended up here, fixing broken things because I couldn't fix the things that mattered. Crix finished the soup. Set the bowl down carefully. I should go. To where? Your thriving family estate. Your generous support network. Somewhere not here. How's that working out? Tobias turned. You got credits? Food? Shelter? Any plan beyond slowly dying in increasingly pathetic locations? I've survived this long. Congratulations. You want a medal? I've got some scrap metal. I can make it shiny. Crix's claws flexed. I don't need your pity. Good. I'm fresh out. Tobias crossed his arms. But I've got a spare room. Well, a storage closet I can clear out. And I could use help in the workshop. Someone small enough to reach the annoying spaces and hull repairs. Pays terrible. Food's included. You'd have to tolerate my personality, which medical professionals have described as abrasive. You're offering me a job? I'm offering you a choice that isn't starvation. Low bar, I know, but I'm working with limited material here. Crix looked around. The chaotic workshop. The gruff human with dead eyes and a daughter-shaped hole in his life. The warm room that smelled like machine oil and possibilities. Every instinct screamed trap. Screamed too good to be true. Screamed that trust was how you got hurt. But those instincts had kept him alive in the lower districts for 6 months. And alive wasn't the same as living. 1 week, Crix said. Trial period. 2 weeks. I don't work with quitters. 1 week. Tobias almost smiled. Almost. Deal. Don't make me regret this. Too late. You already dragged me 2 blocks. Smart mouth for someone who couldn't afford soup. Learned from the best. You've been talking for 10 minutes straight. Tobias snorted. Actually snorted. Yeah, you'll fit right in. Day 3. Crix learned that plasma torches and draconid fire breath reflexes made a terrible combination. Not helpful. Tobias yelled, batting at the small fire consuming a workbench. When I said heat the seal, I meant with the tool, not your face. My instinct said fire solves problems. Your instincts are wrong and possibly drunk. They got the fire out. Barely. The workbench looked like it had fought a war and lost. Tobias stared at the damage, then at Crix. Then back at the damage. We're not telling anyone about this, Tobias said. Agreed. I mean it. This stays between us and the fire suppression system. Absolutely. Day 7. Crix actually managed something useful. A salvaged freighter panel needed rewiring. Tight spaces. Human fingers too big. Draconid claws. Perfect. He threaded the connections while Tobias called out instructions. And when power flowed correctly, the look on Tobias's face was worth every cramped muscle. Tobias said. You're not completely useless. High praise. I'm touched. Emotionally wounded by your kindness. See, now you're learning. The work was hard. Salvage operation meant long hours, complicated repairs, materials that wanted to kill you in creative ways. But it was something. Purpose. Structure. Tobias explained things when Crix asked. Didn't get angry when he made mistakes. Just sighed dramatically and demonstrated again. Week 2. Crix's brain woke up. Starvation did things to thinking. Made everything fuzzy. Survival focused. But with regular meals his mind sharpened. He started seeing patterns in the work. Understanding systems. Tobias was explaining a power coupling issue and Crix interrupted. The relay's backwards. Third junction. Someone installed it upside down. Tobias paused. Checked. Well, hell, you're right. I contain multitudes. You contain SAS. The multitudes are debatable. But Tobias started asking his opinion after that. Treating him like a partner, not a charity case. It was terrifying and wonderful, and Crix didn't know what to do with it. Week 3. Tobias came home with packages. Here, he said, tossing them at Crix. You look like a street urchin. It's bad for business. Inside, clothes. Real clothes. Not salvaged rags. Sized for a young draconid. Work boots that actually fit. A heated jacket for the station's cold cycles. Crix stared. These cost credits. Yeah, money. I've heard of it. Revolutionary concept. I can't pay you back. Did I ask you to? Tobias was already moving. Organizing tools, deliberately not looking at Crix. Consider it an investment. You ruin fewer of my parts when you're not shivering. Tobias. What? Thank you. Don't get weird about it. Just clothes. But it wasn't. It was care. Deliberate. Thoughtful. The jacket had extra room for wing development. The boots accommodated draconid foot structure. Someone had paid attention. Crix wore them every day. Week 4. Station security showed up. Officer Venn. Keltorian. 6 limbs. All of them radiating authority. Tobias Crane. Reports indicate a minor draconid residing in this facility. Unsponsored. That's illegal harboring. Tobias stepped in front of Crix. Casual. Deliberate. Reports indicate you should mind your own business. Revolutionary concept. Registry shows no family sponsorship. No legal guardian documentation. That hatchling's a station ward. Comes with me. Crick's stomach dropped. Back to the shelters, back to the streets. Back to slowly dying while bureaucrats processed paperwork and pretended to care. Like hell he does. Tobias's voice went cold. Sharp. Dangerous. You want legal documentation? Give me 48 hours. I'll get legal documentation. I'll get so much documentation, you'll drown in it. Paperwork avalanche. Bureaucratic nightmare. Mr. Crane, threatening an officer, isn't what I'm doing. I'm promising efficiency. You want this hatchling in the system? Fine. I'll put him in the system. As my legal dependent. Foster placement. Guardian sponsorship. Whatever forms make your job easier. But he's not going anywhere. Ven's eyes narrowed. All 6 of them. You're serious. Do I look like I joke about child welfare? Check my record. Model citizen. Pay my taxes. Follow regulations. Boring as hell. I'll follow every rule in the book. By the book. So thoroughly book adjacent you'll think I wrote the book. But I'm keeping him. The silence stretched. Cricks couldn't breathe. Nobody fought station security. Nobody challenged the system. Nobody cared enough to try. 48 hours, Ven said finally. Proper documentation. Everything filed correctly. Or I'm back with a removal order. You'll get your paperwork. Ven left. Tobias stood there shaking slightly. Anger. Maybe. Or fear. Cricks couldn't tell. You didn't have to do that. Cricks said quietly. Yeah, I did. Why? Tobias turned. Looked at him. Really looked. Because someone should have. Past tense. Present tense. Future tense. Someone should have been there when you were abandoned. Someone should have fought for you before you ended up selling toys to survive. Someone should have given a damn. You barely know me. I know enough. Tobias ran a hand through his hair. I know you're smart. Funny. Terrible with plasma torches, but everyone has flaws. I know you deserved better than what you got, and I know I can't fix the past. Mine or yours, but I can maybe, possibly if I don't screw it up completely, do something right for once. Cricks's vision blurred. Stupid tears. Draconids didn't cry. Except apparently they did. When gruff humans said things that cracked open the careful walls built over months of survival. I don't want to be your replacement's daughter, Cricks whispered.
You're not.
Tobias's voice softened. You're you. Annoying. Sarcastic. Surprisingly good at electrical work. That's enough. That's more than enough. What if I mess up? Then you mess up. I mess up constantly. It's called being alive. We'll figure it out together. Muddling through. Making mistakes. Very human approach to problems. I'm not human. Nobody's perfect. Cricks laughed. Watery. Shaky. That was terrible. I contain multitudes. The next 2 days were bureaucratic chaos. Forms. Interviews. Background checks. Medical evaluations. Financial assessments. Tobias navigated it all with grim determination and truly impressive cursing in 7 languages. On day 47, Officer Ven returned, looked at the documentation. All of it. Every form. Every signature. Every legal requirement met and exceeded. Well, Ven said. This is annoyingly thorough. I promised paperwork. I delivered paperwork. Customer satisfaction guaranteed. Ven handed over an official data chip. Legal guardianship approved. Congratulations, Mr. Crane. You're now responsible for a Draconid minor. May the cosmos have mercy on your soul. After Ven left, Cricks and Tobias sat in the workshop, quiet, the weight of legal permanence settling between them. So, Cricks said, I guess I'm staying. Guess so. You're stuck with me now. Horrifying thought. Completely terrible. Worst decision I've ever made. Top 5 at minimum. They grinned at each other. 2 broken things patched together. Imperfect. Awkward. Real. Family didn't always mean blood. Sometimes it meant choice. 3 months later, Cricks could rewire a power conduit blindfolded, argue about proper hull sealant application for 20 minutes straight, and recognize Tobias's annoyed grunt from 3 rooms away. Life had rhythm now. Wake up. Breakfast. Usually something Tobias burned while insisting he hadn't. Work in the workshop. Lunch. More work. Dinner. Tobias teaching him math or station systems or whatever random knowledge seemed important. Sleep in a real bed in a real room with a door that locked from the inside. Security. Stability. Boring, wonderful normalcy. Hand me the torque wrench, Tobias called from inside a salvaged cargo hauler. The good one. Not the piece of junk you like. They're the same wrench. They're spiritually different. There's energy, vibes. You're making that up. I'm enhanced by caffeine and spite. Give me the wrench. Crix handed it over, grinning. This was easy. Natural. Partnership that worked because they'd learned each other's patterns. Tobias knew when Crix needed space. Crix knew when Tobias was having a bad day. Missing Lily, needing distraction through work. They fit. The explosion changed everything in half a second. One moment, normal. Next moment, the cargo hauler's emergency battery detonated. Not supposed to happen. Safety protocols, regulations, all the things that didn't matter when reality decided otherwise. Tobias flew backwards. Hit the workshop wall. Drop. Tobias. Crix ran. Stupid. Dangerous. The hauler could explode again. Didn't matter. Tobias was slumped against the wall, blood streaming from a head wound, left arm twisted wrong, breathing shallow. Hey! Crix's hands shook. Hey, come on, you're fine, you're completely fine. Just a scratch. Tobias's eyes opened. Unfocused. Crix, right here. I'm right here. The hauler. Forget the hauler. We need medical. Can you walk? Probably not. Everything sideways. Crix's mind raced. Medical station. Sector 5. 20-minute walk. Too long. Tobias needed help now. Emergency services. He fumbled for his comm unit, the one Tobias had given him 2 months ago for emergencies. This qualified. Emergency services, please state. Medical emergency. Sector 7, crane salvage. Explosion, head trauma, possible internal injuries. Send someone now. The operator's voice stayed calm, professional, asking questions. Crix answered on autopilot. Everything Tobias had taught him about staying focused under pressure. Describe the injuries. Explain the situation. Don't panic. Panic makes things worse. Response team dispatched. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Eternity. Crix pressed cloth against Tobias's head wound. Too much blood. Way too much blood. Stay awake. You have to stay awake. Bossy. When'd you get bossy? Learned from the best. Stop talking. Save your energy. Can't. Talking's my thing. Personality trait. Character development. Tobias. Please. The fear in his own voice surprised him. Raw. Desperate. This human. This gruff, impossible human who'd pulled him from the gutter and given him everything. Couldn't leave. Not now. Not when Crix had finally found something worth keeping. The medics arrived in 12 minutes. Efficient. Professional. Loaded Tobias onto a stretcher while Crix explained everything twice, making sure they understood the injury mechanism, the timeline, the symptoms. You family? One medic asked. Yes. No hesitation. Legal documentation made it true, but Crix would have said yes anyway. I'm his son. The word felt right. Station medical smelled like antiseptic and recycled air. Crix sat in the waiting area, scales still flecked with Tobias's blood, answering questions for the 4th time. Insurance information, medical history, emergency contacts. He knew all of it. 3 months of living together, of being family. He'd absorbed details without realizing. Tobias's allergy to Vrelian painkillers, his previous injuries, the medication he took for old shuttle pilot joint damage. You're very prepared, the intake nurse said. He prepared me. For everything. Crix's voice cracked. Is he going to be okay? The doctors are with him now. Someone will update you soon. Soon turned into 2 hours. Crix paced. Sat. Paced again. Other salvage operators started arriving. Word traveled fast in their community. Rena, a Matherian who traded parts with Tobias, sat beside Crix. He's tough. Stubborn. Too mean to die. He better be. Never seen him care about anything after Lily. Then you showed up. Changed something, made him remember how to be human again. She patted Crix's shoulder. You're good for him, kid. He's good for me. Yeah, that's how family works. More operators came. Brought food Crix couldn't eat. Shared stories about Tobias's legendary stubbornness. Built a support network around Crix without being asked. Community. Another thing he'd gained without noticing. Finally a doctor emerged. Crix, he jumped up. How is he? Stable. Concussion. Fractured arm. Some internal bruising. Lucky, considering. He's asking for you. Very insistently. With creative language. Relief flooded through him. Can I see him? Room 7. Fair warning. He's medicated and even grumpier than usual. Tobias looked terrible. Bandaged head. Casted arm. Hooked to monitoring equipment. But his eyes were clear when Crix entered. You look awful, Crix said. You look worse. Is that my blood? Maybe. Probably. You exploded at me. Very rude. Noted. Will explode more considerately next time. Tobias shifted, winced. You did good. The emergency call, the medical team, everything. Perfect execution. You taught me well. Yeah, I did. Tobias's good hand reached out. Crix took it. Scared you. Terrified me. Absolutely horrifying experience. Do not recommend. Sorry. Don't apologize. Just don't die. That's the rule. You don't die, I don't die, we keep fixing broken things together. Deal. They sat in comfortable silence. The machines beeped steadily. Outside, the salvage community waited, supporting one of their own. Crix realized something, sitting there holding his father's hand, surrounded by people who cared. This was home, not the workshop, not the station. This, connection, belonging, chosen family built from spare parts and second chances. He'd sold everything to survive, but he'd gained everything that mattered. 6 months later, Station Meridian still smelled like recycled piss and broken promises, but Crix had stopped noticing. He had friends now, actual friends. Zena, a young Quillan who worked in hydroponics. Jack, a human teenager teaching him elaborate card games Crix suspected were completely made up. A whole network of people who knew his name, asked how he was doing, meant it when they said it. The workshop thrived. Crane and Son Salvage, the sign said. Tobias had unveiled it last month with zero ceremony and maximum grumbling about sentimentality being bad for business. Crix loved it. Evening shift. Crix was reorganizing inventory when someone knocked. Hesitant, quiet, the kind of knock that expected rejection. He opened the door. A kid stood there. Philian, maybe 10 cycles old, skinny, scared, holding a small bag like it contained everything they owned. Probably did. Is this Crane salvage? Small voice. Shaking. Yeah, we're closed, but I heard you help people. Sometimes. I don't have credits, but I can work. I'm good with small repairs. I just need... The kid's voice broke. I just need someone. Crix's heart clenched. Recognition. Mirror image. Different species. Same desperation. Tobias. He called back into the workshop. Tobias emerged, wiping grease from his hands. Took one look at the situation. At Crix. At the kid. Their eyes met. Whole conversation in a glance. We doing this? Obviously we're doing this. You realize this is becoming a pattern. Good patterns are worth repeating. What's your name? Tobias asked the kid. Pep. Well, Pip. You hungry? The kid nodded, trying not to cry. Come on. We've got soup. Fair warning, it's terrible. My son will tell you I can't cook. He's right, but we don't admit that publicly. Pip looked between them. Your son? Crix grinned. Yeah, I'm the son. Also the talented one. Also the reason anything works around here. Also the most humble, Tobias added. Learned from the best. They brought Pip inside. Fed him. Listened to his story. Made space. Later, after Pip fell asleep in the spare room freshly cleared of storage, Crix and Tobias sat in the workshop. We're collecting strays, Crix observed. Apparently it's our thing now. Brand identity. Marketing strategy. Humans are strange. Your entire species just decides to care about random people for no logical reason. Yeah, terrible habit. Very inefficient. Completely illogical. Absolutely ridiculous. Crix leaned against Tobias's shoulder. Comfortable. Safe. Home. Thanks for being ridiculous. Thanks for letting me. Outside, Station Meridian continued its endless cycle. People struggling, surviving, disappearing into cracks. Nobody cared to fill. But inside Crane Salvage, 3 broken things sat together in the warmth, building family from spare parts and second chances. Turns out the galaxy didn't need to be fixed. Just one person at a time, one choice at a time, one home at a time. And sometimes, just sometimes, that was enough.